Cal Poly puts on a facade of sustainability to the public, providing compost bins all over campus that students often use to dispose of their food waste. Some of these locations include all dining facilities, the library, and the UU. However, when looking directly on the Cal Poly website, it's clear to see what really happens on campus. They state, Campus Dining and Facilities Management and Development partner with Eagle and Gray, a licensed facility in Santa Maria, to compost pre-consumer food scraps from dining and post-consumer compostable items from large events. Compostable items like food soiled paper, plates, napkins, and compostable flatware are only collected at zero waste events, where zero waste ambassadors help to keep the compost from contamination. Everywhere else on campus, compostable ware must be thrown in the trash. How about the rest of the food scraps? How much of Cal Poly's food waste is actually going to be composted? We interviewed multiple students and asked them where they thought the waste in the compost bins are going.
I'm just wondering, the compost bins around campus, like in the avenue and like the library, like next to the trash can, where do you think the compost in those goes?
That's actually, I really don't know. Part of me would assume it's probably going somewhere to maybe be made into like, I don't know if it's like fertilizer or something like that. That's usually what I'm familiar with composting.
I have not a clue. I was gonna guess it would go back into the soil of, like, the garden here at Cal Poly.
Ideally, it would go to an on-campus site where we could use it as soil in the future. But I really don't know where it goes.
I would assume it would go to some bigger composting company or some organization that takes care of that.
While most people assume the makeup of compost on campus is from food waste, this is what Cal Poly is actually composting. The majority of Cal Poly's 230 tons of compost comes from the animal units on campus. In reality, only pre-consumer food scraps are composted. Once you, as a consumer, buys the food, eats it, and composts it, your food waste is going straight to the landfill. But what about compostable utensils? Most compostable utensils are lined with a layer of wax or waterproof material. This makes them hard to compost, and most of Cal Poly's so-called compostable items are actually going in the trash. We interviewed a worker at the campus market and asked what they do with their pre-consumer and post-consumer food waste, and found that in most cases, even the untouched food goes straight to the trash.
What do you guys do with food waste at the market?
So here at Campus Market, with all of our food waste, as you can tell, we're going to throw them into these bins, and then they'll take them away. We don't really reuse them that much.
As we discovered through this investigation, most of the compost on campus is not actually going to get composted. The bins located across campus are misleading and can promote a false sense of empowerment to the people for wasting food. While the solution seems apparent that Cal Poly should simply start composting, the process is more difficult than it seems. Compost cannot be made from certain foods such as high processed or specific meats, and sorting through the large compost bins on campus would take a lot of effort. So while this issue may take some time to solve on the greater scale, there are some solutions you as an individual can do. Only buy what you will eat. Don't produce excess waste by overestimating your appetite. Go back for seconds if you need to. Bring your own utensils and containers. Just because a utensil is labeled as compostable doesn't mean it actually is. Using reusable straws will lessen the amount of waste going into the landfill. There are reusable straws available at the village market. Finally, advocating for composting on campus. Lots of groups set up tables at the UU or Dexter lawn to gain support of their club or startup. Cal Poly should remove the compost labels on the bins all over campus. They are not being used for compost, so there's no reason they should be showcased as doing so. In the meanwhile, educating students on campus the reality of composting and where the food goes is important. As an individual, make sure you're being conscious of your food consumption. Exchange single-use utensils for reusable straws and silverware. And finally, always be aware where your food goes. We want to divert as much waste from the landfill as possible to help keep our campus going green.